So all good? Right. Thanks, Charles. So look, we're just going to pop over and have a hydrogen power development update from Neil Thompson. If Neil's around, it's just...
I am indeed.
You are. There you
I never made it back to the home office. I'm sorry. I'm pulled over with very dodgy Wi-Fi. But yeah, no, been great afternoon and really lots so great ensemble as always. You are the orchestra master, Jock.
Oh, thank you, Neil. Do you need Tash to do your slides or?
Oh, I've got them here, so just let me try and get these ones up. Tash and I did try it before, but never worked with children or animals. So
righto. So as it's loading, Neil, you sort of might just do the intro sort of stuff. So you're associate professor. You're a director of a hydrogen electrolyzer producing company, and did I notice that you were here we are, director of the Australian Hydrogen Council as well, which is everything hydrogen is.
I've almost served my time, and that 2 years has gone very fast, Jock.
That's okay. So if you're right to roll.
Yeah. Can everyone see that slide?
Yeah, it slides up. That's all good.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I guess good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity, Jock and team, as always. And yeah, as Charles has said, it's always a pleasure. And learned a lot today from Fiona and Joe and others, which was really going to be the first point to make, that this isn't just about hydrogen. That in that role in the Hydrogen Council, we signed an MOU and then sent a joint communique to the federal government to say, look, this is about renewable gas. Some of that gas is coming from bio sources. The other might be coming from electrolysis. But either way, it's about renewable gas, and it's about biogas and hydrogen. So I guess that was an important point to make, which again just reinforces the discussions this afternoon. And certainly from a project viewpoint, some of the points made by Joe, sometimes I feel that biogas isn't, let's say, sexy enough, or read, I can't charge enough fees. Sorry, Charles, as a consultant, because it's not that high tech. And ironically, a lot of the wins and developments in biogas and anaerobic digesters has been in very much developing countries, because they don't have the high tech solutions that we potentially jump to straight away. So we very much applaud and support that now at the highest level in the industry associations. The other good thing I saw come out in recent years was the work being done by the Grains Research and Development Corp, making initial feasibility studies and then extra money available for biomass to hydrogen. So I think that's relevant, Jock, to some of the things we've been looking at in New South Wales, but also I think Charles touched on work we're doing together in the Queensland Farmers Federation, looking at places like Covey Station, where we have got opportunities to convert some of that biomass. So great to see that there's some funding available for that sort of research and investigation. Again, very much along the lines of let's use organics and let's use waste biomass as the first port of call before we start jumping to more higher tech solutions. Some good news recently in Queensland, the state government has funded the first university fuel cell bus project out at the Gatton, ironically, agricultural campus outside of Brisbane for the University of Queensland. Hydrogen will be produced from renewable solar PV and also waste water, and also looking at using the oxygen in the improvement of efficiency of the wastewater treatment plant. So very much a closed loop integrated design along the lines of what Charles does with Pitt and Sherry, basically looking at how do we actually transition diesel buses basically to do the Brisbane to Gatton run and vice versa, where they're currently spending millions of dollars a year on diesel. So let's get that diesel off the road. But being at Gatton, it will also then allow us to use that as a demonstration site for surrounding agribusiness as a demonstration of diesel replacement. On a similar vein, again in Queensland, the state government has awarded similar funding to the Sun Metals zinc refinery on the southern side of Townsville near the port. They run a fleet, believe it or not, of 27 big triple diesel trucks. And thanks to the work they've done with Horizon Fuel Cells and Hyzon, which is the trucking company, which has made a lot of press lately in Australia, they've actually looked at how we can work to transition to a fuel cell truck across those that fleet of 27, which again is great news. Also, some news from the West, and again, I think this is a pretty powerful one, that when Twiggy and FMG start to look at opportunities in hydrogen, initially this is in non-process infrastructure at Christmas Creek. It was announced with support from the WA government earlier last week. Basically, that's telling you that hydrogen is here at the top end of town, and particularly Adelaide Terrace in Perth. And then that starts to move into the haul trucks and rail ultimately as well. So very exciting news there. So I guess the whole point is that it's moving across the country and across sectors. And if you're going to do it in the Pilbara, you can pretty much do it anywhere, quite frankly, in terms of the heat and dust conditions for the fuel cell stacks. So I guess that was really just a very quick update that our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. O'Connor, had asked that we look at. Again, the message to reinforce is that I think both Joe and Charles have talked about project development. We have an audit standard that I think Charles aspires to, AS3598. It covers both stationary and motive power. If we do an audit of both those, we start to see how big that pool is across diesel for both pumping but also for motive power. And then basically look at feasibility studies to assess the various options, and hopefully we start to see the internal return on investment for some of these early biogas projects and biomass projects as the low-hanging fruit, and that starts to reinvest funds and returns into higher tech around renewable energy, solar PV, hydrogen, battery, etc. Plenty of money out there, as I've described, at both state, territory, federal level, and basically look at how you can actually gear that return on investment via a mix of grant and debt funding. And certainly, I think, to answer Jock's earlier question, partnering with local government is certainly a great way to help underpin some of these projects, because they do have a lot of the assets in terms of wastewater, but they've also got fleets in terms of buses and various trucks as well, to actually help underpin some of that offtake agreement for the biogas and the hydrogen. So I think in summary, Jock, it's still moving forward. So the vision of running these seminars has been justified, and we look forward to contributing to the agribusiness sector moving forward, working with all the great partners you have on the call today.
All good. Thanks, Neil. Any questions for Neil? It's a very quick run around the world, but it's also quite an impressive one. As Neil said, it's very, across sectors, across states, across regions. There's movement in the hydrogen world, but there's also a lot of movement in the other stuff like we've seen today. So, yeah. Any quick questions before Neil zips off?
I've had no questions come through, John.
That's right. That's because everybody's shocked. Now, the other side of that is the next one of the number 3. Sorry, that?
I just said I didn't send anything because, look, it's a quick snapshot, and it's really just reinforcing that, we've got some major players and government support for what everyone can look to, but reinforce that this is renewable gas first and foremost, and biogas starts the process, then move to hydrogen.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. And the other sort of point I was just going to make is that the next in the series of this Exploring Beyond Diesel will have much more of a hydrogen focus. So we'll be looking at some of the stuff in a lot more detail there. So today is really just a snapshot to sort of show that it hasn't all died in the water. It's actually all alive and developing well. So
yeah, so true.
Okay.